Call this meeting of the Nashville Planning Board to order Tuesday, March 25th. I recognize the quorum. Time is 6 p.m. Sean?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Two things this evening. First of all, Miss Lewis is running a little bit late. She's on a phone call, but she will be here. Also, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to welcome aboard. I think a lot of y'all didn't watch our last town council meeting, but our newest member taking board member and Collier space, Mr. Ted Davis. Mr. Davis comes with experience with community development and all types of stuff working in the community field. He's ready to work. And, Mr. Davis, just say a few words, sir.
Well, all I can say is, it's an honor to work with you and to be a part of this board. I am born in Nashville, raised in Nashville. Nashville is my home. I always loved serving people. I love people. I was a career military man for 20-some years. I am president of the Voice of Nashville that's been organized for 22 years. So I'm just glad to be a part of the board.
We're certainly glad to have you. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, next thing we have is approval of the minutes from the February 25th meeting, sir. They were sent out in your package you received in the House, and so in the package you received electronically.
Yes, sir. The minutes being distributed as of last week includes rezoning of 1520 Oak Level Road and also the conditional rezoning involved with that, and also conditional rezoning of the 723 Barnes Street, also known as the Nashville Crossing, I believe. Any corrections to the minutes? The minutes are correct as distributed last week. I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Harper's made a motion. I have a second to accept as written.
I'll make a second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to accept passes. Back to you, Sean.
Mr. Chairman, before us tonight, we only have one item on the docket. That's the rezone of Nash Arts Senior Center from O and I R10 to B2. If you open up your package, you will see the application has been completed by the Nash County Planning Director who is here this evening, Mr. Adam Tyson. Also coming to him is the Assistant County Manager with him, Mr. Jonathan Boone from Nash County. They are asking to have this property rezoned from O and I R10 to B2 for classification for a subdivision that they're going to be doing in the near future. If you read your application, they do answer the questions properly. First question, describe how the rezoning request is consistent with the Town of Nashville Comprehensive Plan, zoning ordinance, and any other official plan that's applicable. Consistent with the comp plan because the existing institutional land use and government facility are preferred for location within this town center classification, not spot zoning, because it would be an explanation of, especially of the large, already existing immediate adjacent B2 district established directly across North Austin Street to the west of the subject property. Explain how the rezoning request will update the existing ordinance. Is there any inconsistencies with the Town of Nashville Comprehensive Plan, zoning ordinance, or any other official plan that's applicable? Approve this request will update the town's zoning map only and is not anticipated to require any other updates of the town's existing ordinance or plans. Explain why the rezoning request will be appropriate, beneficial, and in the general public's interest of the area sought to be rezoned. The continuance of the existing arts center and the proposed expansion of the current senior center will benefit the general public by contributing to a walkability, live, work, play environment that is desired around this location in order to keep the downtown area a regional attraction. Explain whether the rezoning request will severely affect adjoining property owners and alter the character of the area. Approve this request is not anticipated to adversely affect the adjoining property owners or to sustainably alter the character of the area. Lastly, briefly explain the accessibility and impact of adequate public facilities, service, fire and safety, infrastructure, parks and recreation, stormwater drainage, and topography that is currently available at the subject property. The proposed expansion of the existing senior center is not anticipated to significantly increase the impact of the subject property on the town's public facilities, service, or infrastructure, and it will be accomplished in compliance with all town applicable development regulations. This was signed by the Nash County Planning Director, who is representing for the case tonight, Mr. Adam Tyson. If you turn to page number 5, I believe, in your packet, Nash County did provide us the 500 feet radius. Letters were sent out to all these people in radius. And we can turn to the agenda packet now on staff report. You also see on page 7, we did send out the notice of public hearing letter. The property owner is Nash County. This is rezoning case 2025-03. They're asking to have 100 East Washington Street and 103 North Austin Street in the town of Nashville be rezoned from O&I to NR10 to B2, central business. North of the property is residential. South is R10 residential. East is R10 residential. West is B2, municipal county government and downtown businesses. Existing zone is O&I and R10. Proposed zoning is B2, central business district. The B2 district is defined as a district that's defined as a certain land structure that provides personal service, retailing, some high-density dwellings, and business service of all kinds for local and regional commerce. There is located in the central business district of the town where major streets and highways converge. The regulations are designed to permit and concentrate development of permitted facilities and to protect the district from over-intense development and congestion. If you turn over to page number 7 in your packet, the future land use has this slated our 2021 comp plan as town center. The town center classification recognizes the importance of a maintained mixed-use area within the town, administrative government and private office, personal and professional services, retail establishments, and residential units establish community anchors and encourage multi-model travel. This blend of land use should be encouraged to continue through reuse of existing historic buildings with appropriate scale infill. Additionally, opportunities to include mixed-use residential facilities, pocket parks, and other pedestrian-friendly uses for the future development. Redevelopment within these locations will help expand options and amenities of Nashville citizens. The town centers intend to provide a walkable, live, work, play environment that's a regional attraction. Preferred use in our town center according to our comprehensive plan in 2021, retail, professional service, restaurants, office, mixed-use residential, institutional uses, and government facilities. Description of this project is 0.91 acres of tract of land owned by Nash County. It does have road frontage off East Washington Street and East Elm Street in Nashville. Right now it's currently zone O&I R10 within the town of Nashville. Currently is hosting the Nash County Senior Center and Nash Arts is located on the property, and this property does fall once again in the town of Nashville jurisdictions. If you turn to page 8, you will see right here the picture displaying the O&I and the R10. The parking lot is also R10. If we turn over in our packet, page number 10, future land use map does show this needs to be town center. Project history for this project: Adam Tyson with Nash County, the plan director, submitted the application on Thursday, March the 6th, 2025. The property is being served by town water and sewer by the town of Nashville. Public hearing notice letters were mailed out to approximately 67 property owners within a 500-foot radius on February the 5th, 2025. The public hearing notice was posted on the town's website March the 11th. The rezoning sign was posted on the property March the 7th. Photos were taken. Please see below the attachment. The legal notice was advertised in Nashville Graphic on March the 13th, 20th, 27th, and April the 3rd. For the planning board meeting and the town council public hearing meeting. Of course, you know we have to do double notifications because both meetings are back to back. The front door of the town hall was posted on March 11th. The front door of the town of Nashville Harold D. Cooley Library and Parks and Recreation Center was posted on March 11th. The subject property is not located within the floodplain. The subject property is located within the Upper Stony Creek subwatershed. The subject property is not located within the NCDEQ water supply watershed number 4. The town of Nashville future land use map and existing has this property slated as town center. Comprehensive land use plan, the subject property number 1. The request to amend the town of Nashville zone ad is consistent with the recommendation of the town of Nashville comprehensive plan. Number 1, the subject property has access off East Washington Street, East Elm Street. Number 2, the town plan prefers institutional uses and government facilities in the town center. Reasonable distance and not spot zoning. General rezoning request RZ 2025-03 may be considered reasonable and in the public's interest because number 1, the request is not spot zoning because the subject property will be rezoned for office, institutional, and residential 10 to business 2, where this use is allowed in the central business location. Number 2, our future land use map has this property slated as town center. Number 3, the town Nashville B2 zoning district is the most intense for these types of uses. And number 4, once again, the subject property is in harmony with the request since the property does have road frontage off East Washington Elm Street. As the planning board tonight, you guys know your job is to do these 4 recommendations and to write a statement of consistency. Upon making these recommendations, the planning board should consider the following factors. Number one is the proposal in accordance with the land use plan and surrounding planning principles. Is this a convincing demonstration that all use permitted under the proposed district classification or proposed text amendment will be in the general public interest and not merely in the interest of the individual or a small group? Number three, is there a convincing demonstration that all use permitted under the proposed district classification will be appropriate in the area including the proposed change? And number four, is there a convincing demonstration that the character of the neighborhood will not be materially and adversely affected by any use permitted in the proposed change? Last thing I got, Mr. Chairman, before I turn it over to Mr. Tyson or Mr. Boone, who's here to represent Nash County. The TRC do meet on the fourth Monday. Of course, the way this meeting came in for this planning board, this was submitted before our TRC schedule, so we did meet yesterday on it. The TRC on March 24, 25 at 1 p.m. did meet and convene about this rezoning. They did recommend approval for this rezoning, being that it did meet the town of Nashville's land use and comprehensive plan. Mr. Chairman, I will yield now back to you, sir. We can open up the public hearing. We can hear from Mr. Tyson. If anybody in the public would like to speak for or against the rezoning, then we can come back for staff recommendations and deliberation amongst you and the board, sir. I yield to
Very
you.
well. There's a public hearing open, property aforementioned. Jonathan, if you or anybody with the county would like to let us know what the proposal is.
Good evening, board. My name is Adam Tyson. I'm the Nash County Planning Director. I want to thank you for your consideration of the county's general rezoning request this evening. The primary purpose behind this rezoning is a planned expansion of the Nash County Senior Center, which is existing already on the rear of the subject property. You have the Nash Arts Center on the front, the Old Baptist Church, and then the existing Senior Center behind that. Part of the property that we would utilize for the expansion of the Senior Center is currently zoned R10 residential. Working with Mr. Lucas, he has categorized the Senior Center under your existing table of permitted uses as an indoor recreation facility. An indoor recreation facility is not a land use permitted in that R10 residential zoning district. And so in order for us to expand that facility, the area over which it would be expanded needs to be rezoned. And working with Mr. Lucas again, he has suggested the B2 Central Business Zoning District. So this would not only rezone the areas of the property that are currently zoned residential to B2, but it would provide a unified B2 classification for these two adjacent parcels, including the portion on the front that's currently zoned OI Office Institutional. It would not only be consistent for those two adjacent parcels, but it would also be consistent with the large B2 zoning district that includes the county's administrative building to the west of the property directly across North Austin Street. Following an approval of the rezoning request, the county does intend to relocate the property line that divides portions of the Senior Center property. It would continue to be two parcels, a front parcel and a rear parcel, but we propose to relocate that property line such that the Arts Center in the front is on its own parcel, and then the expanded Senior Center and the parking related to that would be on a separate parcel in the back. Just to echo a few things that Sean covered in his report, the town's comprehensive plan does identify this area as a town center area, and the types of land uses that are already existing here, the Arts Center, which is an institutional land use, and the Senior Center, which is a government facility. Those are among the types of land uses that the town's plan prefers to be included in this town center area. And so for that reason, we believe that this B2 rezoning request is consistent with the town's comprehensive plan. And as I've already alluded to, it would not be spot zoning, because it would actually just be an expansion of the existing B2 district that is already directly across North Austin Street, covering the county's administrative building campus, the courthouse, the businesses across Washington Street there. It would be really just a modest expansion of the B2 footprint that already characterizes most of the downtown area. And certainly when we plan to expand the Senior Center, we plan to abide by all the applicable zoning and development rules that the town has. We'll continue to work with Sean for a zoning permit approval for the specific facility expansion once we get a little further along in that process. But for these reasons, because we believe it's consistent with your plan and we don't believe it would be spot zoning, we do humbly ask the board to consider recommending approval of this request to the town council. As Sean mentioned, Deputy County Manager Jonathan Boone is with me here tonight, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding our request. Thank you.
Questions from the board? I think it's a good thing. We should go ahead and approve it. I do have one concern about the property where we're gonna be expanding the senior center into that grove of cedar trees. I'm not sure if I brought it up earlier, but I'm concerned whether there might not be, or it might be a small family grave or two back there in that section. Whether it's the Bridgers or whether it's the Ross family. I think the house originally was built by the Rosses. It was Dr. T.T. Ross. He was a dentist. That small house beside the huge house was his dentist office 100 years ago. But I've been working on a website with a website called findagrave.com. I'm sure you're probably familiar with that, but it's a couple of people that I cannot locate. And I had a first cousin that just passed recently. He was working on it for me, but he passed away before he was able to give me more information with it and all. But it's concerned in the northeast corner of that plot. It's a concrete, it looks like it might be a foundation of a small shop or shed or something. But I'm questioning whether it might be a border around a couple of full graves there. So I think it's important that be investigated before you start pouring concrete.
You have any awareness of that? Okay. Well, I'm certain that the county is open to investigating that prior to proceeding with any construction.
Any other questions from the board for our manager, Mr. Tush? Mr. Tyson, the diagram that came with this, just for curiosity, is the reason the senior citizen is not shown here below is because this was originally designed just to show the division of the properties?
Correct. The purpose of that map is to relocate the property line that currently cuts through the senior center property in order to use it as a dividing line between the ARC Center in the front and the senior center in the back. So that map does not show the proposed expansion. It shows the facility right around the location where that new property line will be relocated.
Okay.
And that property line does pass through breezeway between the buildings, but Sean has worked with us to locate a provision in your ordinance that allows for the encroachment of that breezeway and steps on that new dividing property.
Yes, sir. Yes. More questions? Go right ahead,
Do I have to go up there?
please. Is your question for
Mr. Tice.
Mr. Tyson? You'll hang on just a
Oh,
second.
Mr. Strickland.
Oh,
What sort of, could ground penetrating radar or something like that be used to discover any potential graves, even with the potential age?
yes, if anybody is buried there, it was before vaults.
So
With
GPR would pick
concrete
it up?
vaults, you can use a probe,
Uh-huh.
but I can't tell you when concrete vaults became a standard practice, but it was not 100 years ago. 100 years ago, you may have gotten a wooden box.
So you think there's a potential for as many as 4 graves there,
Possibly.
and they would be
If
from?
that concrete border is large enough for 4 graves. But I'm not saying there's 4 there. I'm questioning.
They would fit.
Yeah.
And you think they date to early 1900s or
No,
1800s?
it's the late 1800s or early 1900s.
And you think they're from want either the Bridgers or the Ross family?
Correct.
And the little house that was
Correct.
there was
Correct.
whose?
In the T.T. Ross family, he and I think his wife were buried out here at Forest Hills. There is a battle cemetery across from what we know as the Austin Farm. That huge house on the other side of 64, on the other side of McDonald's. On the southwest corner of that intersection, down a dirt path, it's a cemetery down there. I have not visited, but somebody else has that works with you, Marion Hightower Johnson. You familiar with her?
Not the name doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, well, mention it to Joanne and see.
Okay.
Marion could help you with that.
So you think there are graves there because it looks like there would be?
Yes, and my cousin, his mother was the Bridgers, was raised in that house, and he was supposed to have gotten back with me, but he passed away a couple of months ago, and so I didn't get that information.
What would
he
be
was gonna look into it.
What would be the procedure if it's determined? Well, first of all, whose responsibility would it be to rent GPR to check that out?
Somebody just requested to.
Probably the county.
Yes.
Okay, and if it was determined that there were one or more graves there, what would be the next?
Relocation.
And
Exhuming and relocating.
do you know where they'd go, or is that up to the family?
Where that would go?
Where the remains would be reinterred?
Well, perhaps the county could talk with the town of Nashville to appropriate some property at Forest Hills to relocate the graves, if there were graves there.
And
It has been done. It has been done. Where across from Clayton Mobile Homes, where the rest home is out there. Years ago, that was Nash Home. They took care of the old people there, and they had a cemetery behind that. It ended a cemetery, and they had no permanent markers. There were some wooden markers. But in the early 60s, maybe 60, 61, when they were marking off the right of way for the 64 bypass to come around Nashville, that cemetery was in the way. So they exhumed the bodies there, placed them in small boxes, according to J.C. Manning, that's J.B. Manning's son, and I know you don't know him. I know this young lady back here, I know she knows him. But he told me that maybe 3 years ago, that as far as he could remember, the majority, if not all of them, were relocated to Forest Hills. And there is a section in the back part of Forest Hills. It's a large plot with 2 concrete pavers sticking upright. And that's all that's in that whole section. And I described that to him when I was talking with him about it. This was prior to J.C. dying, passing away, and he said that sounded to me, that was about the right.
So if this has to happen, doesn't the county health department have to be involved in the disinterment
That would
and
be a question to
reinterment?
Mr. Bill Hill before he retired.
If I can interject,
Sorry.
Mr. Manager, that becomes an issue between the estate of the survivors, the county, and the owners, correct?
That's right.
John, that becomes an issue between the heirs of those, if such, the owners and the county, correct? The city's not involved in that.
I believe you're right, but we would certainly consult the county attorney and let him
Yeah.
advise us on how best to handle it, should we confirm the presence of graves on the property.
Sorry, it's just, I'm done.
It's fine. It's fine. I think the city's not going to be involved. I think that's a county issue, an issue with the heirs, like I said. And when I say county, that may involve the health department and then the owners, which is the county. So, Sean, do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
Not this evening, Mr. Chairman, but we could always poll the audience.
I just have a comment. Is that all right?
Please come forward and state your name and let's have your comment.
Well, I didn't know all this was coming up. I was thinking, I was very process. But I'm Elaine Robertson,
Yes,
509 Park Court. And Macon had an experience with this in Wake Forest. And it's very orchestrated. And he worked with the funeral home. And he found out that there was a niece, a surviving niece of the 100-plus-year-old grave. And so he was in touch with her and got permission to move what was left. And the funeral home director told him to bring a box. So Macon came with a box. and he says, no, we just want just a small box, because it ended up just being ashes. But the label for the coffin was there, and the nails were standing up, but everything else was gone. It was just black ashes. And what was so interesting, the director said, you'll know, Macon had his own machine up there, and the director was supervising, and he said, you're going to be able to tell when you get to the remains. And it was soil, and then all of a sudden it was this black layer, dark black layer. And he says, that's it. So they just got up what they could get, put it in the little box, and lo and behold, they went to the cemetery, and his marker was already there with his name on it. So evidently the niece had told him where the family plot was. So that was a real experience.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Robertson. Being no inside of public comments, I'll close the public hearing. Sean, staff recommendations, please.
Mr. Chairman, since the applicant has made all the necessary documents turned into the town of what we require for rezoning, and since this property does go along with our comprehensive land use plan to be rezoned to town center, and also considering that the town TRC team, the technical review committee, did meet yesterday on this rezone request and found it favorable for approval, I would recommend the planning board to vote this approval to send to the town council for their recommendation in a public hearing. Also would state consistency given to the town council at their next meeting, saying that we did vote this for approval.
Thank you, sir. At this time, based on what's been presented to us, we may approve this motion as written in the next to last page of your packet. We may deny based on the information on the last page of your packet. We can actually recommend approval with conditions. This time, I'll turn to the board for a motion for any of the above.
Motion made that we approve it.
I have a motion from Mr. Strickland that this be approved as written in our package, and that motion would be that we move that the town of Nashville Planning Board recommends approval of rezoning request RZ 2025-03 rezoning specific property B2 business to allow any use within B2 zoning district along with a statement of plan consistency and reasonableness and recommended for the consideration of town of Nashville Council. Under that is a 5-point statement about that plan. I'm not going to read it for simplicity. Everybody has that. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Mr. Harper. Those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed to this? Say, it is passed unanimously. What other business do we have?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any other business tonight, but I will announce to the planning board to go ahead and clear your schedules by April 29th. We are preferably going to maybe have that evening 3 rezonings.
Okay.
That are attending, the people have came to the applications, but have not submitted nothing back, but I think they'll have them back in before the cutoff date.
Okay.
If anything changes, I'll send emails out.
If there's no more business before the board, I thank Ms. Robertson for being here. I thank our assistant county manager and the planning board director, and I'm going to make Mr. Ross Strickland available to you for one-on-one if you need so. He is an Esquire historian, in fact. I call this meeting adjourned. I have a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
Mr. Evans and Mr. Davis, I'm going to let you second the meeting tonight. We're adjourned.